Now then, people, it's Joe, Leeds TV. I'm back for another post-match. This time it is an FA Cup loss against QPR. How's everyone feeling? Listen, it's a much of a muchness. I'm giving it to you straight. I ain't that arsed, right? Let's concentrate on the league. That's all what we all thought pre-match. Listen, at ones apiece, I'd rather us win the game or lose the game, if that makes sense. Draw is the last thing you want. We didn't want to draw. So, listen, I never want Leeds United to lose. But, you know, if we ain't going to win the game, I'd rather we have lost the game, if that makes sense. We can concentrate now on the league. Yes, we've lost 3 on the bounce. This is different. You know, it's not in the league. If we go and play Derby on Friday and we lose, I'd be more concerned. Listen, people might be fuming. I'm not so much, because look, it was a good run out for all the youth. Listen, we've been knocked out in the 3rd round quite a few times. You know, recent history, Monk at Sutton United, TC at Newport. But this was different. Yes, we're playing better opposition in QPR, but in terms of bred in the youth, you know, there was no Billy, you know, shite that Monk brought in, or TC. It was, you could see it was genuine experience for the lads that were out there, you know, Leif Davis, Clark, you know, just Shackleton. You know, they're going to learn from that experience. Even the lads that came off the bench, not going to lie, some I've never fucking heard of, but it's there, and it was a good run out for them lads, yeah. One thing I was happy with pre-match is the bench. I was so glad I didn't see Roof on there, or Click on there, Pablo. You know, I didn't want these near this fixture. And I think Bielsa's done well in keeping them away from this fixture personally, because we didn't want them having to come onto a game and affect the game and maybe picking up a knock. For me, FA Cup, it's done. We move on. I ain't that arse. The magic of the FA Cup ain't what it once was anyway. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't have them same vibes, unfortunately. If we'd have had a big team in the 3rd round, yeah, fair enough. Let's have a go. Let's test ourselves. But QPR, bleh. And, you know, we've lost the game. Like I said, I'd rather we lost than drew when it was at ones apiece. And it is what it is. We move on now. We've got Derby, yeah? I mean, it's quite surprising when I seen QPR's record in the FA Cup. 22 years since they've actually won a 3rd round tie at the first time of asking. Obviously, they must have won replays, but 22 years, 1996, and it was that goal by one Trevor Sinclair. What an absolute finish versus Tranmere as well. One of the FA Cup's greatest goals. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he had shitlocks at the time. But yeah, so I was quite surprised at that. So fair play to them. It's a big thing for them, I guess, now. They've actually won an FA Cup game first time of asking. That's a nice hurdle to get over. So well done QPR. I thought QPR were decent. I thought going forward, you know, they had Eze. I thought Freeman had a good game. Osabi Samuel as well. I really like the look of him. Otte, who scored the pen. I thought they were decent. From our side perspective, and I said this to the lads in the group chat, this is an opportunity for some of the lads to stake a claim. Clark especially, you know, can Clark start from minute 1? And I feel vindicated in a little bit that I would, at this moment in time in the league, much rather have him come off the bench and affect the game when people are tired as opposed to starting out. But for me, the only one really who had a half-decent game was Alioski, and he's already in the fucking starting lineup, do you know what I mean? So, it is what it is. I felt really sorry for Tom Pearce, really, really sorry. That's twice that's happened to him now. But listen, Bielsa's ruthless, it is what it is. I mean, towards the end of the game, I didn't know who was playing where. I think Forshaw was playing at the back on his own at one point. Obviously, we had the subs come on. Tuzunominikov, maybe. I think Leeds and Phil Hayes said, let's just go with Kun. I mean, if he's anything like Kun Aguero, I'm game for that. Bulgarian was at Barcelona as a youth, so obviously he came on. And we've got Clark O'Dur came on as well. I think O'Dur went at left wing back, Forshaw went at centre back. But then I'd also read that fucking Harrison was at left wing back, Alioski at left back, and Kun had gone in centre forward position. My mind was boggled, but this is what Bielsa gives you. But like I said before, much better third round the FA Cup performance than we've seen previously under most recent managers. it was much of a muchness, as I keep saying, but it was a decent run out for him. Learning experience, learning curve. Roberts got to play. There you go. There's another one who could have staked a claim. But Harrison as well. It was just a end-to-end kind of game. We just lacked that killer pass. But I think over-analysing it and thinking, this makes it look worse. I think, to be fair, we're okay. Do you know what I mean? It's the FA Cup. It's done now, and it's probably a good thing that it's done. We could have had the perfect start, and I keep saying with Leeds, regardless of which teams put out, if we get that early goal, we will go on to win games, in my opinion, because we dominate the ball so much. And Roberts nearly had the perfect start off both posts, and we were unlucky not to go ahead so early. I think it was evident for me, and I was sort of vindicated toward the end of the game, and I wrote down in my notes that we were so vulnerable from corners. Be if it was BPF making errors, who, by the way, had a good game today, I will say that, or just lacking height. And I think Bielsa's made a point about missing, Cooper, Berardi, good headers of the ball. Obviously, Janssen wasn't in there today as well. And we just looked susceptible to corners all day. There was one, and I want to make note, because I will say BPF did have a good game, and you know what my feelings are on him as an individual overall, if I think he's good enough or not. But there was at one point where he nearly fucking punched it in his own net. So, do you know what I mean? He's just too inconsistent. But today, he had a very good game. I think for me, and I put it in my notes, it's the fact when he doesn't have to think, shot stopping, he's very good. Very good. I think it was Freeman, when he knocked it onto the post, it may have been, good save. But when he's given that time to think, it's indecision, or his decision making, whether to come or go on corners, for example, or when a shot's coming in, he has from a set piece, free kick. I don't know what it is. Goalkeeping coaches may know, but he needs to work on that side of his game. But yeah, we got straight back into the game from Apaway Halmi, who was subbed off at half time. By all accounts, a tactical decision. I think what Bielsa means by that is he was on a yellow card. It was evident that we were susceptible to the ball over the top. We lacked pace at the back today, and they had pace in abundance, and he could have easily got second yellow, making a rash challenge, definitely. So maybe the right choice to bring him off. I did put, maybe it was because he was going to be rested, because he might be playing Friday with Cooper coming back. But maybe not. I think it was just purely for the yellow card. Obviously, Cooper should play tomorrow. I think Joe Urquhart tweeted out, it was quite funny actually, and said it'll be Cooper and the under-12s with the amount of under-23s that were in the lineup today. But as long as Cooper comes through that unscathed, can't wait to see him back on Friday. I thought their goalkeeper looked shaky as well, that Ingram. Obviously, he knocked it into Halmi's path after Baker's decent free kick. I thought he could have been got at if we'd have had more efforts on goal. But good finish by Halmi. For a defender, I think at Sheffield United he had a similar sort of opportunity. He seems to be key when balls are dropping in and around the box. He's quite alive to them in the opposing box, and he showed that against Sheffield United. And I do like Halmi. I think Baker, as I say, again, didn't do much to impress us. To warrant getting anywhere near the first 11 for me. I mean, there was towards the end of the first half, he made a poor pass and we almost conceded from it. It's been quite a regular occurrence in Leeds performances recently, for sure. Even KP and also Baker today just being a little bit lacklustre when getting the ball from the centre backs and playing poor passes. And we're going to get punished. And I put here Clark question marks, because I don't think I seen much of him first half. I thought he came alive in the second a little bit more. Seemed to be getting a little bit more of the ball, but the balls weren't great. Yeah, I mean, as I've said, I think Alioski for me was the only one who had a half decent game, personally. And he's already in the lineup. And then obviously second half QPR goal, Bidwell corner. As I touched on earlier on in the game, we looked susceptible to it all game. We just looked poor, and Bielsa's mentioned it as well in his post-match press conference about us lacking the height. And we did, you know, we just didn't look good from corners at all. And obviously Bailey doesn't fill anybody with much confidence, although he had a good game today. And then obviously the subs came, you know, Pearce came on and at half time for Halmay, sorry. And then Leif Davis moves into centre back. Obviously they well thought of Leif Davis, even though I thought, to be fair, in the first half he didn't have a great game. He got caught out a few times. And obviously the penalty as well, it was a definite pen, and I think a little bit of inexperience, a little bit of naivety to go running in, because as soon as, I don't know if it was Freeman or Bidwell seen him coming, all he needed to do was touch the ball and he was going down, and it was a defo pen. And then obviously Pearce comes on, and it shows the confidence that they have in Davis, the fact that they move him into a centre-back position, put Pearce out, but then Pearce comes off again, and it's happened twice, and I feel so sorry for the lad. And for a lad who was touted by, or looked at by Premiership clubs, I believe he's probably regretting signing that contract. Genuinely believe that, because he hasn't made many appearances regardless of his injury. Before he was injured, he weren't making regular appearances, and then when he does come on, he gets subbed off, and it's twice it's happened. It's a little bit embarrassing. That's how I would feel if it was me. Regardless of if it's tactical, you'd feel a little bit embarrassed. And I feel sorry for him, because there is a good player there. And I think Oscar said at half time, Leif Davis isn't as good as Pearce in Oscar's opinion. And why isn't he on the pitch? I mean, if he's on the bench, he's fit enough to start. So there's obviously something that Bielsa doesn't see in Pearce that the majority of us do, because I genuinely think that we all thought he's a very good player. But yeah, then Tuzaneminikov came on, or Kun as we call him, Bulgarian, 18, couldn't really do much to affect the game. At that point, obviously, Alioski goes to left back, Harrison at left wing, and then he was leading the line. And then Davis came off for Clark O'Dea, and then there was another switch round. I don't know what was going on at that point. I think Forshaw was the last line of defence. Listen, it was a decent game. It was end-to-end, I thought. Opportunities for both sides. BPF, as I said, had a good game, apart from when he nearly punched it in his own net. And Alioski, I thought, for me, was okay. You know, he runs his mouth a little bit too much, and he's always game for a yellow card, in all honesty. But I thought he had a decent game. But, listen, we're out of the cup. I'm sort of glad, I'm not going to lie. I don't want us to lose games, like I said, but at ones apiece, for me, all I'm thinking is, please don't draw this game. Win it or lose it. Do you know what I mean? It is what it is. And we can concentrate now on Derby and back to, you know, Saturday games, you know, as opposed to this period that we've had. You know, we've got players coming back. Hopefully Cooper will be back soon. Hopefully we'll get the keeper and the winger that we want in January, and things will start to look, you know, rosy again, and everything will be all gravy. All gravy, baby. But yeah, look, it was a good run out for the youth, like I said, and I'd much rather that happen than Roof and Click and all these other players be involved and still go out, if that makes sense. I'm glad the youth had a run out, and it just makes a further mockery of what fucking Moose said all them weeks ago now. Because look at that side, look how much youth was in there. And QPR, I think QPR made 7 changes, but they still had some first 11 out there. So I thought it was a decent performance by the lads, and fair play to them. I'm not going to get carried away. Derby's the big one now, massive game. I cannot wait for it as well. I'm getting itchy feet, do you know what I mean? As soon as Monday comes, Monday Night Football tomorrow live, we'll have a chat. Guys, leave in the comments what you want to chat about. I'm thinking of putting a poll out on Twitter, on social media, just to say what is it you want to discuss. And we'll get into that. And I know Oscar did a live stream. If you caught that, great stuff. If not, make sure you check that back. And Conor's video, if it isn't live already, will be live soon. But thanks for tuning in as always, guys. Appreciate it. Share the love and all that stuff, and make sure you watch the guys. And I'll see you tomorrow for Monday Night Football. We'll be going live again. I'll let you know during the day what time. But probably like 6, 7-ish, I'd imagine. But thanks for tuning in, guys. Don't be too downbeat. It's the FA Cup, and if we'd have all asked prior to the game, we all wanted out. Let's be honest. Genuinely ask yourself, do you want out of the cup? Yeah. Are we going to win the cup? No. Is there a genuine possibility that we can go up and go up as champions? Yes, there is. There is. So let's forget about the FA Cup. Let's forget about QPR. And let's just roll on to Friday now. Under the lights at Ellen Road. Packed house against a big team in Derby County. I cannot wait. I just can't wait, honestly, guys. And it's going to be a massive game, and we must win. We must win, because after that, then maybe you start to think, what's going on? So yeah, that's when I'll start to worry. But I think we can get a result. The one thing I will say is, I think Frank he'll approach it differently, 100% approach it differently, because last time when he fought fire with fire, they got burnt. And hopefully he does come out. Maybe he is a little bit stubborn and he comes out the same and we absolutely burn them. But let's see. The guys have had a rest now. That's a good thing. Friday soon come, and we'll see what it's about. But thank you as always, guys. Marching on together. Love yous all. Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.